consciously beginning to make decisions as the abundant version of you would. And then it will slowly become your reality.
What if I told you the reason manifestation hasn't worked for you isn't because you're not visualizing hard enough or believing deeply enough, but because you're speaking the wrong language? The language the universe actually understands. You say you've been trying. You've written down the affirmations, you've made the vision board, you've felt the emotions, repeated the mantras, and still nothing. Or at least not in the way you expected. The love doesn't arrive, the opportunity doesn't show up, the money doesn't move, and you begin to wonder, does this even work? Here's the truth that very few will tell you. Manifestation is not just about belief, it's about alignment, and alignment has everything to do with how you communicate, not just with words, but with energy, with being, with intention that matches the unspoken rhythms of the universe. Because the universe doesn't speak in English, or French, or any human language. It speaks in frequency, in vibration, in resonance. Most people are shouting desires at the universe while silently radiating fear, asking for abundance while vibrating in lack, affirming love while deeply convinced they're unworthy of it. And the universe, neutral and precise, listens not to what you say out loud, but to what you broadcast. It listens to the space between your words, to the feelings behind your thoughts, to your energetic signature. This is why manifestation often feels broken, because people are speaking to the universe the way they were taught to speak to people, with politeness, performance, and sometimes desperation. But the universe isn't interested in your facade. It responds to truth, to purity of intention, to energy that is clean and congruent. So what does that actually mean? It means that the real language of the universe isn't scripted. It's honest. It doesn't care about the perfect phrase. It cares about whether your vibration and your vision are aligned. This is where many spiritual teachings go shallow. They stop at the surface. Focus, visualize, believe. But what they miss is that belief isn't just a thought. It's a state, a condition of the body, the breath, the nervous system. It's not just about thinking you'll receive. It's about becoming a match to what you say you want. Let's take a deeper look. Imagine two people both trying to manifest peace. One says, "I want peace," and sits in meditation for 20 minutes chanting softly. But all day they run from place to place, suppress their anger, avoid confrontation, and fill their silence with noise. The second says nothing at all but slowly begins to remove what no longer brings them ease. They let go of toxic obligations. They face what they've been avoiding. They allow themselves to feel and release. Who's really speaking the language of peace? The universe listens not to declarations, but to demonstrations. In ancient mystic traditions, especially those found in Sufi poetry or Taoist philosophy, this concept of harmony is everything. The Tao, for example, is not persuaded by arguments. It is aligned with when one stops resisting the natural flow of life. Rumi wrote, "What you seek is seeking you." But he also warned, "Don't get lost in your pain. Know that one day your pain will become your cure." That's not poetic fluff. That's physics. The universe sends back what you're emitting even when you don't realize it. So if your manifestation isn't working, ask yourself, what am I really saying with my being? Because it's not about reciting the perfect phrase. It's about clearing out the emotional static. It's about tuning your body and mind into a frequency that is free from contradiction. The language of the universe is subtle. It responds not to volume, but to clarity. Now let's explore why this subtlety is so important. Most people think that more force equals more power. They think that the louder they ask, the faster the answer comes. But in the laws of energy, force often repels. It creates resistance. The more you try to grab something, the more you affirm that it's not already yours. And the universe, ever reflective, returns that vibration of separation. This is why desire alone is not enough. In fact, unchecked desire is often just a mask for fear. You want the money because you're afraid of being poor. You want the relationship because you're afraid of being alone. You want the success because you're afraid you're not enough. But fear is a very loud frequency, and it overpowers whatever wish you try to layer on top of it. The universe doesn't punish you for that. It just mirrors it. To truly speak to the universe is to speak from wholeness, to move from already having, not as a trick, but as a truth you anchor into. It means walking like you're already chosen, breathing like the support is already in place, acting like the thing you asked for is already flowing toward you, and you don't have to chase it. Just meet it. This doesn't mean pretending everything is fine when it's not. It means cultivating emotional honesty and then alchemizing those emotions into clarity. You can grieve and still be aligned. You can be unsure and still move forward, because it's not about being perfect. It's about being integrated. This is the new way of manifestation. Not shouting at the stars, but becoming the sky itself. Not pleading for light, but recognizing you are the spark. The forgotten syntax of manifestation: emotion, breath, and silence. You've likely been told that the universe listens to your thoughts, that if you think something long enough, hard enough, with enough emotional juice behind it, it will manifest. But what you weren't told, what most teachings leave out, is that the universe doesn't actually speak words. It speaks tones, frequencies, fields. And to speak to it clearly, you must learn a language that is older than language: emotion, breath, and silence. This is the real syntax of manifestation. It is not about saying more. It's about saying less, but with more purity, more coherence. If you've been shouting affirmations from a place of panic, or trying to control everything in sight, this might be why nothing has shifted. Words that come from fear will never land in fields of abundance. Let's start with emotion. Emotion is energy in motion. It's your body's way of sending a signal out into the greater field. Every emotion carries a frequency. Joy radiates differently than fear. Gratitude hums at a different rate than anger. When you're trying to manifest something, what you feel is the instruction you're giving the universe. Not what you say out loud, not what you script, but the feeling that fills the space between your ribs when you're alone. That's what's doing the talking. You can't fake emotion, not to the universe. You can pretend to others, sure. You can smile while you're suffering. You can say you're fine when you're hollow. But the universe isn't watching your lips. It's listening to your field. This is why positive thinking alone doesn't work. If the emotion underneath is anxious, rushed, or desperate, the universe responds to that, not your mantra. So how do you shift your emotional frequency? You feel through what's already there. You don't skip over your fear, you sit with it. You don't deny your anger, you breathe with it. Every emotion, when fully felt without judgment, begins to transform. It dissolves into something clearer, cleaner, truthful, and truth has power. Real manifestation begins the moment you stop lying to yourself about what you feel and start feeling it all. That leads us to the second component: breath. Breath is the bridge between body and spirit. It's the one thing that's always in the present. When your thoughts scatter, when your emotions rise like waves, breath brings you back to center. It regulates the body. It clears the static. It realigns your system with what's actually happening, not your fear of what might. If your manifestation practice doesn't include conscious breath, you're speaking with a muffled voice. Every inhale is a receiving. Every exhale is a letting go. And between them is space. Sacred, living space where new timelines begin to open. Try this the next time you want to ask the universe for something. Don't say anything. Just sit, breathe, get very still, and wait. Let the request form from the space, not the mind. Let it rise like a scent, not a demand. What you'll notice is that when your breath is calm, your requests change. They're less frantic, less needy. They begin to feel like offerings, not complaints. And that brings us to perhaps the most misunderstood language of all: silence. Silence is not the absence of communication. It's a different kind of communication. It's where the deepest messages live. Silence is not passive. It's alive, responsive, rich with presence. When you're constantly talking mentally, verbally, energetically, you block the answers trying to reach you. Most people aren't receiving because they never stop broadcasting. It's like trying to hear the echo of your voice while you're still shouting. The universe answers in whispers, in nudges, in signs you only see when you slow down. In the mystic traditions of the East, silence has always been sacred. Not as an escape, but as a gateway. In the stillness, you begin to hear what isn't said. You begin to feel the shift in energy around certain people, certain places. You begin to notice. And that noticing sharpens your ability to create, not with effort, but with awareness. When you're still, you can feel whether what you're asking for is actually aligned, or just a distraction. You can sense if your desire is coming from your soul or your wound. And once that distinction becomes clear, your manifestations stop being vague. They become precise, swift, inevitable. You see, when emotion, breath, and silence are aligned, something magical happens. Your frequency stabilizes. Your inner world stops spinning. And when you're steady inside, you don't beg the universe. You partner with it. You stop saying, I want this, and start saying, I'm ready to hold this. There's a difference. One is a request. The other is a readiness. One is asking. The other is inviting. When you speak through your whole being, when your words match your breath, and your breath matches your emotion, and your emotion is housed in stillness, you're not trying to manifest. You are manifestation. This is why ancient teachings always pointed people inward, not to disconnect from the world, but to reconnect to the source. Because once you're attuned, the outer world reflects that, not because you fought for it, but because you finally stopped resisting yourself. Your environment is already speaking to the universe. You may not realize it, but your surroundings, your habits, your space, your actions are constantly sending messages to the universe on your behalf. Even when you're not manifesting in the traditional sense, you're still in communication with the field of energy around you, and what you allow, tolerate, or surround yourself with is interpreted as a declaration of what you believe you deserve. This is why so many people say they want transformation, but nothing in their life reflects the version of themselves that already has it. The universe doesn't just listen to the words you say, it listens to the reality you maintain. If you live in clutter, chaos, or emotional noise, the signal you're sending out isn't about expansion, it's about survival. If your habits reflect neglect, your frequency becomes one of disregard, and while the universe doesn't punish, it responds in kind. Your reality always mirrors your energetic standard. Let's pause and ask something simple but potent. If someone had no access to your words, no journal, no affirmations, no vision boards, and could only observe your life, what would they believe you're asking for? The truth is, the universe is that observer. Every unspoken act, every environment you stay in, every relationship you continue to entertain, even every small yes you say when you mean no, all of it becomes your vibration signature, and energy never lies. This is why awareness of your environment is spiritual practice. The way your home feels, the way your mornings begin, the way you nourish your body, the way you end your day, these are not neutral. They are energetic markers. They either affirm your future or anchor you to your past. Now, this doesn't mean your space must be perfect or your life flawless. The goal isn't performance, it's alignment. You're not decorating for the universe to impress it. You're aligning your space to be in resonance with who you're becoming. You want to manifest wealth? Begin by honoring what you already have. Care for it. Bless it. Treat even the smallest thing as sacred. You want to call in love? Look at the energy in your relationships. Are you speaking kindly to yourself? Are you respecting your boundaries? Are you choosing connection over distraction? Remember, every choice is a vote for the version of yourself you are embodying. Every choice says, this is what I allow, this is what I normalize, this is what I expect. Let's go deeper. Your rituals speak louder than your requests. If your morning ritual is hitting snooze, rushing through tasks and avoiding stillness, what you're telling the universe is, I'm not ready to hold the version of me I say I want to be. If your evening ritual is falling asleep to noise, doom scrolling, or avoiding silence, your energy becomes scattered, diluted. You cannot expect clarity from the universe when your life is built on confusion. That's the harsh truth. But it's also the liberating one, because the shift doesn't begin with something big. It begins with the next small moment of respect. Clean your room, not for aesthetics, but because order is a frequency. Drink water, not just for your body, but to show the universe you want to be a clear channel. Sit in silence, not for performance, but to remind your spirit that you're available for instruction. Manifestation isn't magic, it's communication. It's the art of becoming the type of person your future is already aligned with. Not overnight, but every day through presence, precision, and practice. Think of it this way, you're always in ceremony. Your life is the altar, your attention is the offering, your habits are the prayer. So take a look at what you're offering each day. Is it rooted in truth? Is it charged with love? Does it reflect your desire, or does it contradict it? People often ask, why hasn't the universe given me what I asked for? But perhaps a better question is, Have I built a life that can actually hold it? If you want something new, you must become someone new, not in essence, but in embodiment. That means letting go of what no longer belongs to the version of you that already has what you desire. That means choosing again, day after day, even when no one sees it, even when it feels slow, even when nothing magical seems to happen. Because here's what most don't realize. The manifestation begins long before the thing arrives. It begins the moment you choose to live in a way that welcomes it. Clarity is the true power, not force. Many people think the stronger their intention, the faster the manifestation. So they push harder, want more deeply, repeat their affirmations louder, faster, longer, convinced that if they just feel it enough, they can force the universe's hand. But here's the truth most people overlook. The universe doesn't respond to force, it responds to clarity. Force is frantic, clarity is focused. Force tries to bend reality, clarity aligns with it. Think of energy like water. It flows where there is space. It moves through the path of least resistance. When you're trying to manifest from tension, obsession, or desperation, you're actually clogging the channel. You're creating energetic noise that drowns out the signal of your true intention. This is why people who obsess over timing often feel like nothing works for them. They're holding on to a version of reality that is based on urgency, not truth. And urgency is often fear in disguise. The fear that you'll miss out, that it'll never come, that you're being forgotten. But you're never forgotten by the universe. You're simply being met at the level of your frequency, and frequency is shaped by clarity, consistency, and coherence, not by intensity. Let's break that down. Clarity means knowing what you truly want, not what you think you're supposed to want, not what looks good on paper, not what others expect. It's that deep, wordless knowing that lives in your chest, not your mind. When you're clear, you don't need to convince yourself, you just know. This kind of knowing doesn't need force. It creates an energetic field that naturally draws the right people, places, and moments toward you. And just like tuning a radio, when you're clear, you're tuned into the exact station that broadcasts your desire. But most people skip clarity. They rush past it, hoping to get to the results. They think manifestation is a transaction. I do this ritual and the universe gives me what I want. But the universe isn't transactional, it's relational. It mirrors being, not begging. Now let's talk about consistency. Clarity means nothing without consistency. You can't broadcast one signal in the morning and a different one at night and expect the universe to know which one to answer. If you visualize abundance at 6 a.m. and entertain scarcity all day, the universe hears conflict. If you affirm love but shrink yourself in every relationship, the universe hears dissonance. Consistency isn't about being perfect. It's about being congruent. It's about showing up, even when no one sees you, even when it's not working, even when you're tired, because your reality is listening to the pattern of your energy, not just the peak moments. And that brings us to coherence. Coherence is when your thoughts, emotions, and actions are all telling the same story. When your mind says, I am ready, your heart feels, I am safe, and your actions prove I am prepared. That's when the universe can move quickly, because you're not leaking energy anymore. You're not saying one thing and living another. You become a clear signal, a lighthouse in the quantum sea. So if you've been asking, why hasn't it come yet? Try asking instead, have I become clear? Have I been consistent? Am I coherent in my energy? These aren't spiritual tests, they're invitations. The universe is always willing. The question is, are you aligned? Here's where timing often trips people up. You might be aligned for a day or a week and then fall into despair when your desire doesn't show up by Friday. But time is not your enemy. Time is part of the alchemy. Some desires are ready to come instantly, but you're not ready to receive them. Others are growing beneath the surface like seeds in the dark. They're not slow, they're becoming. You wouldn't dig up a seed to check if it's growing, you'd water it. You'd trust the soil, you'd wait in patience knowing the roots need time to strengthen before the stem breaks through. The same goes for your manifestations. They aren't just appearing, they're integrating with your vibration. And sometimes it's not about waiting, it's about catching up to the version of you who can actually hold the thing you're asking for. This is why certain desires fall apart the moment they arrive. Not because they weren't meant for you, but because you weren't yet a match for their weight, their truth, their responsibility. Manifestation isn't a reward, it's a reflection. So here's the paradox. When you stop chasing the thing, it starts chasing you. Not because you gave up, but because you got clear. You stopped vibrating from lack. You stopped broadcasting need. You became a living match for the thing, without needing to grasp it. This is where manifestation begins to feel like flow, not force. You think of something and the phone rings. You imagine an idea and the opportunity appears. You feel something shift and reality moves with you. Not because you begged, but because you became the right signal. Holding your frequency when the world shakes. It's one thing to speak to the universe when everything is calm, when you're in your routine, when your energy feels centered, when your faith is high. But what happens when the world starts shaking? When nothing seems to go your way? When all signs point to giving up? This is the moment where most people abandon their frequency. They break the signal. They go back to fear. Not because they're weak, but because they were never taught this truth. Your ability to hold the frequency when it's hardest to do so is exactly what shapes your reality. Anyone can believe when it's easy, but the field, the energy that shapes what we call reality, is always watching what you do when you're under pressure. That's when your nervous system speaks the loudest. Let's be honest, your nervous system is the real translator between your desire and your environment. If your nervous system is in survival mode, even your most beautiful intentions will be filtered through fear. You might want abundance, but your body says we're not safe. You might ask for love, but your energy says people leave. So how do you hold your frequency when life feels unstable? You begin with regulation, not reaction. When things go wrong, the first instinct is to react. We want to fix, change, solve. But reaction is rarely conscious. It's often a replay of old survival patterns. You shut down, you overthink, you doubt the process. But in those moments, what you really need isn't more action, it's more stability within. That's where breath comes back in. That's where grounding rituals matter. That's where silence becomes your weapon, not your weakness. You start by simply sitting with yourself. No blame, no guilt, no trying to bypass what you feel. Instead, you say, I feel this. I don't like this. But I won't abandon my signal just because things look unclear. Because clarity is not always confirmed by what you see. It's confirmed by what you refuse to let go of. This is the test. Can you still breathe with presence when the answer doesn't arrive on time? Can you still keep your space clean, your heart open, your vibration steady when nothing makes sense? This isn't about toxic positivity. It's about energetic responsibility. Your vibration isn't just a mood. It's a frequency you hold through choice, again and again, especially when no one is clapping. Especially when the old stories try to pull you back. When your reality begins to push against your vision, it's not because it's rejecting it. It's because the old version of you is being asked to leave. And that departure often feels like chaos. But chaos is not always destruction. Sometimes it's a recalibration, a dismantling of the patterns that once kept you small. And if you can stay steady, if you can keep choosing your alignment over your fear, you'll begin to notice the shift. A missed call becomes a moment of peace. A cancelled plan becomes a new space to create. A financial loss becomes the mirror that shows you where you've been settling. This is the language of the field. It doesn't punish. It purifies. And if you let it, it will shape you into the version of you that doesn't need proof to trust. Because the ones who shape reality are not the ones who force it. They are the ones who become immovable in their vision. And that steadiness, that internal stillness in the middle of external noise, is not a personality trait. It's a spiritual muscle. One you build by returning to your signal no matter what. Let's talk about how to strengthen it. Create non-negotiables, not dramatic ones, quiet ones. The way you start your day, the way you speak to yourself when no one is listening, the way you move through your space. These small choices compound. They send a steady message. This is who I am now. Even when your bank account disagrees, even when your reflection challenges you, even when your friends don't understand, your frequency doesn't need validation. It just needs commitment. And here's the mystery most miss. Your reality will resist you just before it reshapes for you. It's like the tide pulling back before a wave. It's like the silence before the answer. And the old version of you, the one who used to settle, doubt, shrink, will try to come back. Let it rise, but don't let it run the show. Say, I see you, I've outgrown you, but you don't get to choose my frequency anymore. Because in that moment, the shift happens, quietly, invisibly, but powerfully. Your body is the final portal. Here's the truth no one talks about enough. Your body is the final portal. It's not just your vessel, it's your amplifier. Your body is how the universe knows you're serious. You can visualize all day. You can script, affirm, and meditate. But until you embody the thing you want, until your physical presence begins to live as if it's already done, the signal remains faint. Why? Because energy doesn't just move through thought, it locks in through motion. Embodiment means your cells believe you. Have you ever noticed how posture changes when someone feels confident? They stand taller, breathe deeper, speak slower. That's not a performance, that's energetic truth made physical. That's the frequency of I already have it coming through without words. Now ask yourself, what if you moved through your day with that same certainty? What if you didn't wait for the thing to arrive to feel different, but felt different so that the thing could arrive? This is the secret behind true manifestation. Feeling isn't a side effect, it's the source. Your body is listening to every belief you carry. If you say, I am wealthy, but you rush through your day with tension in your chest and scarcity in your spine, the signal gets scrambled. If you affirm love, but carry shame in your belly and collapse your shoulders when someone looks at you, the field picks up on the contradiction. This isn't judgment, it's feedback. The body doesn't lie. And that's a good thing, because it means you always have access to the truth, through sensation, posture, breath, and presence. You can feel where you're aligned and where you're still carrying old programs. You don't need a psychic, you need to listen inward. So how do you begin to embody the frequency of the life you want? Start small. Start with how you walk. Seriously. Walk like someone who already has clarity. Slow down. Let your steps land. Be present with each movement. The nervous system calms when you walk in awareness. And when your nervous system is calm, your field becomes clear. Then move to how you breathe. Most people breathe shallow, fast, from the chest. That's the breath of survival, the breath of holding on. But if you begin to breathe from the belly, long and deep, your body starts to believe something new. We are safe, and safety is the baseline of all creation. When you feel safe, you receive more. Now go to how you sit. If you're constantly hunched over, hiding, scrolling, shrinking, you're not just affecting your posture, you're imprinting your energy with I don't want to be seen. But the things you desire, visibility, opportunity, abundance, require space. So sit like someone who belongs, shoulders back, spine tall. Even in silence, your presence becomes magnetic. This is embodiment, 1,000 silent signals that say, I am ready. And here's something most miss. Your body is the bridge between the energetic and the material. What you feel becomes thought. Thought becomes belief. Belief becomes posture. Posture becomes action. Action becomes outcome. If you skip the body, you delay the outcome. This is why movement is medicine. Not just in the physical sense, but in the metaphysical one. Dance, stretch, shake. Move in ways that your future self would move. Let your body rehearse the reality you're calling in. This isn't pretending, it's preparing. Because embodiment isn't about waiting for proof, it's about becoming the proof. And the more your body lives as if the thing is real, the more your brain rewires itself to match that belief. This is how new neural pathways are formed. Not through repetition alone, but through felt experience. So if you want the universe to respond differently, start by moving differently. Let your days become a living prayer. Let your stillness become an offering. Let your actions speak louder than any affirmation ever could. The key is to let your external begin to mirror your internal, not the other way around. That means you stop dressing for the past. You stop talking like you're unsure. You stop apologizing for taking up space. You choose foods that make your energy feel clear. You rest not as escape, but as alignment. You create space for the things you say you want, not just in your schedule, but in your body. This is how the universe knows you're no longer asking. It knows you've become. And when embodiment meets alignment, reality has no choice but to shift. Integration, becoming the magnet, not the seeker. Reality doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. And what you are isn't just your thoughts or your emotions. It's the sum of how you carry yourself through space and time. The final key to unlocking your hidden power to manipulate energy is integration. Integration is what happens when your energy, mind, body and space all speak the same language. It's when there's no inner conflict between what you say, what you feel, and what you do. You become coherent, And coherence is power. Most people live fragmented lives. They wake up already overwhelmed, rushing to respond to everything outside them. They carry tension in their bodies from yesterday's worries. They say one thing but feel another. They do things they don't enjoy to chase things they don't need. This fragmentation scrambles the signal. But you don't have to live like that. You can become a living magnet, not by controlling more, but by aligning deeper. And that starts with your environment. Look around you. Is your physical space aligned with the energy you're cultivating? You cannot hold the frequency of abundance in a space that feels chaotic, heavy, or neglected. Your outer space reflects your inner world, so clean it. Light a candle not because it's spiritual, but because it anchors your intention. Open windows, let air flow, let light in. Keep reminders of what you're calling invisible, a symbol, a word, a feeling. Because when your space supports your frequency becomes easier to maintain. Now look at your energy flow throughout the day. Are you constantly distracted, pulled in every direction? Then your frequency is leaking. The most powerful people, those who seem to attract with ease, aren't more gifted. They're more clear. They say no more often. They protect their energy like sacred currency. They don't explain themselves endlessly. They understand that every moment of attention is a message to the universe. So begin choosing where your energy goes. Protect your mornings, set intentions before you check your phone, pause before you react, reconnect before you speak. That tiny gap between stimulus and response is where your power is hidden. And now, the final integration piece. Letting go without giving up. Letting go does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop clutching. It means you've done the work to align with your desire and now trust that the signal is enough. Letting go is the moment when your nervous system softens. It's when you stop chasing the thing and let the thing find you. Most people reverse this. They take action, feel fear, then go back into doubt. But true manifestation is not linear, it's spiral. It circles back through you again and again until every layer of you agrees, this is already mine. That's what integration does. It brings every part of you, your beliefs, your behaviors, your breath, your movement, into harmony with your desire. And when that happens, synchronicities become normal. You meet the right people without trying. Opportunities show up in strange ways. The right words come out of your mouth without planning. You begin to feel led, not lost. You realize you are never trying to control reality. You are learning how to collaborate with it. You don't push anymore. You participate. You don't manifest from urgency. You create from alignment. You don't wait to feel worthy. You remember that you always were. And so your reality bends, not because you forced it, but because you matched it. This is the truth behind manipulating energy. It's not about bending the world to your will. It's about returning to your true state, where your will and the world are already in harmony. It's about no longer trying to prove yourself, and instead letting your presence become the proof. Because energy doesn't lie, and once you align with the version of you who already has it, everything shifts. You become the signal, you become the magnet, you become the reality, and that is your hidden power, now unlocked. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.